I'm getting married, yay, and my brother John asked me to include his girlfriend, Sarah, as a bridesmaid, as a way to get her involved with our family, since he wants to propose soon. I wasn't happy. She's quite snobbish, almost in a comically villainous way. She once made fun of the fact that I get most of my groceries from the local big box supercenter and not somewhere with more high-quality products. But I loved John, and it mattered a lot to him, so I agreed. On to the issue. On the final night of my bachelorette party, we decided to have one big meal that was really pricey and fancy that we all saved up for. Sarah said she had to take an emergency work meeting and for us to go ahead first. The restaurant was walkable from our hotel. Guys, when Sarah showed up, I was floored. She came in with a sparkly white sequin number with a tulle skirt and tiara. When planning the trip, my maid of honor made it abundantly clear that everyone was supposed to wear pink so we could get a cute photo together at the restaurant. I'm not even kidding. Her outfit was so bridal looking that the waitress actually asked if we were having a joint bachelorette party. I was so upset that when it came time to take photos, I absolutely refused to have Sarah in them. She said it wasn't her fault because she didn't get the memo. But I told her it was common sense not to wear a bridal-looking dress to a bachelorette party if you're not the bride. Plus, she was in the group chat and even commented about another girl's outfit when we talked about what we wanted to wear, so I know she knew. All of my friends were on my side, and they made sure she didn't end up in the photos. When we got home, she pitched a fit to my brother, saying that we bullied her at the party and deliberately left her out. She was also angry because many family and friends noticed she wasn't in the photos, and I wasn't afraid to tell them exactly why. My brother's really upset, though, because she's been crying and whining about it nonstop since. Apparently, they're both so mad, they'll skip the Father's Day brunch, so the whole thing is blowing up even more. I'm starting to feel bad because my mom told me that my brother and Sarah were fighting a lot now, so I'm not sure if I'm being the idiot here. My brother called me a bridezilla, but I really felt like Sarah was trying to ruin my night. Not the idiot. A tiara and a tulle skirt, all in white? It was no accident. Kate Middleton could show up in a tiara at my bachelorette, and I'd probably still be miffed. Someone was clearly jealous of the attention you were getting. If the drama continues, I would reduce the size of the bridal party by 1. Lord knows what kind of stunt she would pull on the wedding day. Good point. And honestly, I wouldn't let her attend the wedding at all. I already envision a dramatic proposal from John to Sarah at the wedding, likely during the wedding toast and speeches. OP, let them fight. Better now than when they get engaged and married. A photo would have been useful proof, though, to get the family and brother up to date. Exactly. If only they'd gotten a photo, they could have just posted it for all to gawk at. That's why I want an update in a couple of months. Fully expect a full-on wedding dress that isn't a wedding dress. It's not white, it's ivory. I feel like a point is being overlooked. It's clear Sarah's trying to drive a wedge between John and his family. They're now not going to a Father's Day celebration because of Sarah? She's deliberately escalating this to create more tension between John and his entire family. OP, treat him with a little more kindness. Otherwise, he'll end up being just one of these emotionally abused guys. Sure, he might not listen, but at the moment it doesn't look like anyone's even suggesting telling him that this is red flag behavior and that he's the one at risk. So a snobbish girl with the moxie to lie about not knowing the agreed upon rule has the gall to show up like a bride, with a tiara mind you, to your bachelorette party, then proceeds to throw a fit to your brother while gaslighting everyone, thereby driving a wedge in the family, which ultimately leads to a foolish idea of skipping Father's Day brunch in a stupid protest. LOL, if John ends up marrying her, you're in for a lifetime of headaches. Good luck. And poor John really is in for a fun time. I, 25 male, am a wedding planner. So when my sister, 32, announced she was getting married, most of our family, her included, assumed I'd help plan it for her. I initially didn't really want to, as her wedding's right in the middle of the busy season, so I'd miss out on gigs that would pay. But then I decided that she's my sister, and this would be a good wedding gift and would just help with the wedding stress. She was so happy when I agreed, and we started going over her plans and themes. I found some venues, and we went to look at them. I took care of all the catering, so all she had to do was taste test and pick. I was also able to use my connections to get her special deals and stuff like that. At first it was pretty smooth, but as time passed, it just got more and more stressful. She wouldn't communicate with anyone and almost got her photographer to quit. I had to convince him to stay. She'd constantly change her mind on things and then get mad they were changed, as I should have known she was just being indecisive and that I should have stuck with the first option. While I was setting up her registry, she told me I could have first dibs on what gift I was getting her. I looked at her confused and said that my help planning was my gift. She then said that a lot of family members helped out and that they were all still getting gifts. I told her that other family members have helped move furniture or lend me their car to pick up supplies. I was doing most of the work and was missing out on getting paid for helping her. She said she was grateful for my help, but that this wouldn't constitute a gift unless I paid for things like her dress or the venue. And she said it didn't matter when I brought up that my connections have literally saved her thousands when you add them up. So she's now calling me cheap, and it's getting our family involved. I don't know what she told them. They won't tell me, but they keep just saying how selfish I am to make my sister's big day all about me. If I could afford it, I would be okay with getting her something, but the cheapest thing in her registry is almost $200, and I'm not well off, plus my loss of income. I can't afford something like that right now. I want to support her, but I don't think I'll get her a gift. So, am I the idiot if I don't? Not the idiot. Make an itemized bill for her outlining the hours you've spent, the income you've lost by turning down paid gigs, and the savings you've got her through her contacts. Print the final total in big, bold numbers, then print "gifted" in red letters across the front. Frame it and put it on a stand at the gift table at her wedding so everyone can see how generous you've been. If anyone tries to argue that you're being selfish, tell them to read it out loud. If they accuse you of being petty, tell them it wouldn't have been necessary if it had been appreciated by the bride and themselves. I'd go even a step further and give her this bill. Say if she wants a registry gift, she can pay this. LOL. Your time is valuable, and you sound like you've put a lot of effort into helping her with her wedding. She's offered you nothing in return at all. Actually, when a wedding planner would normally be very expensive, if she was going to flip out on you for not getting her a material item, then it shows how much she values your time. What an idiot. Helping out is when someone comes over to make favors, help transport items, or decorate. You're providing a service and coordinating an entire event for her. And as did your family that feels the need to be involved, you need to be clear that you're a 25-year-old losing out on actual money to support yourself. You're disappointed. Your family neither seems to value your work or time. Don't let family walk over you. I have an old studio condo in a major city, and my son is staying there for his internship. Unknown to me and my son, my wife and daughter decided to go and stay without asking my son for a shopping trip. I butt out of his life. He's 24. I've never heard of him actively dating or having a girlfriend, but my wife and teen daughter just showed up in the middle of the day, and I guess my son had a woman over, and it caught my wife by surprise. Not only that, the woman also lives there part-time because she works in another city. This is news to me, but not expected at his age. My wife freaks out, yells at my son, and kicks him and his friend out of the apartment for her shopping trip. I hear this and refund my son the money for his hotel and refuse to treat him like he's done something awful, having a woman living with him. My wife wants me to charge her rent, but I said I'm giving the studio to my son full-time, and there are no more surprise shopping visits. I told my son to change the locks, and I'm not having his mom stop in like that anymore. It's an invasion of privacy. My wife insists that his friend pays rent, even though my son just pays utilities and never has had to pay us rent. I don't see the issue with the friend, and I think my wife is making a big deal over nothing. Am I the idiot for not charging rent to my son's friend? Edit. It was left to me by my grandparents when they died. I used it as an Airbnb, but I'm letting my son use it instead. It caught my wife and teen daughter off guard, but they should have knocked first. Wow, they didn't even knock first? Did they walk into an adult's home without notice, or even knocking, and then kicked your son out of his home, forcing him to go into a hotel, maybe endangering his relationship, so they can stay there to go shopping? Why does your wife hate her own son? Not the idiot. You're 100% doing the right thing. If anything, your wife is out of line. Her anger that her little boy is now a man, and the fact that the woman was there completely shattered the illusion. How is it a surprise a 24-year-old man has a woman over with him? And the fact she dared to kick him out of the place he's living is ridiculous. Good for you for supporting your son, and don't give any more ground on that matter. Kicked out both of them while she commandeered the place? Your wife is definitely making a big deal out of it. Showing up to a 24-year-old's apartment unannounced is an interesting choice. I'm trying to find out why she's overreacting to such a degree and wanting to charge the girlfriend's rent. There's a reason the son is so private. Maybe she's one of those moms who hates all of his girlfriends. So my daughter recently had a birthday, pre-tween, and for our family part, she asked for a peanut butter and chocolate cake. I agreed. I told my sister not to bring my nephew, toddler, because of his allergy. It's so bad that he can't even be near or breathe in peanut butter particles. She asked if I would change the cake to just chocolate so that my nephew could come. I said no, that it was my daughter's cake, and she should have peanut butter if she wanted. She called me unreasonable because my daughter could have had peanut butter cake with her friend party. She didn't have cake with her friends. She just had pizza. She said my daughter must learn to compromise for family's sake. I told her that I would talk to my daughter, but not to expect a young child to choose her baby cousin over her favorite cake. My conversation with my daughter played out just like I predicted. And when I told my sister, she called my daughter selfish and ungrateful. She said that I'm a bad parent because I taught her to hate nephew. She threatened that if my nephew wasn't welcome, neither she nor her husband would come either. I said that was fine because she wasn't welcome either. I then reached out to my brother-in-law to let him know what was going on and to tell him he was still welcome if he wanted to come. He thanked me, but said that he'd stay home to support my sister. Her party came and went, and my sister is still being very distant and cold. This has me wondering if I was too harsh to her and my nephew, or too soft on my daughter. Am I the idiot? This is a hard one, since your nephew is so allergic, you have to really think about it before having the kid around. Can you order some Chinese takeout or even fried food? What have you made in the past day that might still be in the air? Do you have peanuts in something? He's also a toddler, so you can't just have a party outside and be like, don't eat that. I'm saying not the idiot, as you told them ahead and told them you couldn't accommodate and wouldn't force your daughter to accommodate. The hard part of having strong allergies is you don't get to do everything. It is what it is. If anyone is teaching OP's daughter to hate her cousin, it's the sister. Forcing a young child to give up their favorite cake on their birthday is an excellent way to sow resentment toward the person they're doing it for. I was the kid that always had to compromise. I would ask for something I liked and then be forced to do something else because another family member doesn't like that, especially on my birthday. Now as an adult, when someone asks me what my favorite of anything is or what I want, I literally don't know. I was never allowed to have favorites. I always had to people please everyone else, and I rarely ever spoke up about what I want or just defer others to pick everything. And I don't like celebrating or acknowledging my birthday because it's been drilled into my psyche that I'm not special and no one cares about my special day. You aren't teaching your kid narcissism or spoiling her by allowing her to pick something she likes over a family member one time on her birthday. I thank you for taking your daughter's side and letting her make choices for her own birthday. I'm a male 34, and my wife is 32. We've been married for 6 fantastic years, and we recently had our first child, a beautiful girl who's just weeks old. Things have been tumultuous lately, and I'm not sure if I'm the one being unreasonable. I work a physically demanding job in construction that starts at 6 a.m. This means I have to wake up at 4:30 a.m. to get ready and commute. My job needs me to be alert, as any lapse could lead to serious accidents. My wife is on a year-long maternity leave and is responsible for caring for our baby throughout the day. Here's the problem. As they do, our newborn wakes up several times throughout the night. My wife has been insisting that I help with these late-night feedings and changes. Still, I've explained to her that a lack of sleep could seriously jeopardize my work performance and my safety. To add more drama to the mix, my mother-in-law has moved in with us to help with the baby. However, her idea of help often involves criticizing my wife's parenting, which only adds to her stress, and dictating how we should run our household. She's also been siding with my wife on the nighttime assistance issue, making me feel ganged up on in my own home. I help as much as I can when I'm off work. I take on most of the cooking and cleaning and tend to the baby as soon as I'm home, till she sleeps. But the continuous pressure and lack of sleep are becoming unbearable. After a particularly heated argument, I told my mother-in-law that she'd need to find somewhere else to stay if she didn't contribute positively. My wife was upset, saying I was out of line for kicking out her mother. I feel bad, but I also think the current situation isn't sustainable. So am I the idiot for refusing to assist with our newborn at night due to the nature of my job and for asking my intrusive mother-in-law to leave? Edit. I should also mention that I have 2 stepsons from my wife's previous relationship. In addition to my work and the baby duties, I also pick them up from school, help them with their homework, and take them to their sports practices after I get off work. It's not just about the newborn. We have a whole family to take care of. So it's not like I'm lounging around sipping a beer post-work. Balancing all these responsibilities is what makes the situation so challenging. Everybody sucks here. You don't get to toss out your mother-in-law, who's apparently there at your wife's request. Under normal circumstances, I would say it's 2 yeses for any house guest, but this period of time postpartum is an exception to that rule. Your mother-in-law should be helping with the nighttime feedings. At this point in time, that's the main assistance she should provide. This is where the pressure needs to be applied. Your wife is frustrated and overwhelmed, and dealing with a 6-week baby is not a walk in the park. I know from experience, but sleep deprivation for someone working a physical, dangerous job with a long commute is not a solution. Not the idiot. I don't know why everyone's jumping down this guy's throat so quickly. Look, I'm a woman, and if my husband were working a dangerous job, I would want him to get a full night's sleep, especially if I have a year's maternity leave. This guy doesn't sound like he's slacking. It sounds like he's as tired as any person would be, working full-time and caring for the house and kids when not at work. And it also sounds like his wife is exhausted, because let's face it, mother-in-law is exhausting and a waste of space, especially if the husband's already doing all the cooking, cleaning, and pickups. So my family has a tradition that goes back a long time, centuries in fact. It used to be a common thing historically in our country for a woman when she wed to bring a bottom drawer that had all her bedding, linen, and clothes, etc. In addition to the dowry her father would give her husband, the women of my family would use the bottom drawer to secure the woman's future. After the engagement was announced, all the women in the family would gather together and make her a quilt. Within each section of the quilt, a family member would hide some money, jewelry, seeds, or anything that could help in the future in case the woman needed to escape an abusive husband or they fell on hard times. Despite it really not being needed now, my family still continues this tradition as a symbolic way of taking care of the daughters of our family. My brother recently got engaged to his long-term girlfriend. She has no family she's close to. So after a discussion, it was decided we'd make her a quilt too, to fully welcome her into the family. We planned out an engagement party for her and explained the tradition and how during the engagement party, all the women of the family and she would be doing this together. She found it funny, made some scathing remarks about the whole thing and how old-fashioned it was, and called it weird. This upset quite a few of us, myself included. In the end, we called it off and decided not to make the quilt. She got upset that she wouldn't get a party and said how she still wanted the gifts. So in the end, I sent her a toaster from Amazon, saying I hoped it was modern enough for her. I'd originally been planning to hide 300 pounds in my square. A bit petty, I'll admit, but I don't see why I should give the big gift for her alone as an engagement gift if she's going to be disrespectful. I plan to save my money for the actual wedding gift, which will be for both of them. She's now upset as a few other relatives have done similar to me and sent cheaper gifts, or no gifts at all, and has complained to my brother that the family's women are being mean to her. He's embarrassed by how she acted toward a kind gesture from the family, but tried to mediate it by saying it would seem odd to anyone, not from our family. Am I the idiot here? Am I too petty? This is one of the nicest family gifts and gestures I've ever heard of. I love to sew, and this would be amazing. What a perfect way to get to know your in-laws. Can I be a part of your family, OP? I don't want the gifts, but I'd be tickled with every shade of pink to spend time quilting with family. Oh, and no, you're not the idiot at all. I would do the same, maybe. I don't know if I would have bothered to get her anything personal. A lot of old-fashioned traditions are just weird and irrelevant in this day and age, but not this one. It is so sweet and practical, kind, and real. I'm so sorry she turned her nose up at such a kind welcome. The dollar amount isn't the issue here. Something like this means a lot. You're not being petty. You're giving her exactly what she felt she was worth. Heck, maybe your brother needs the emergency escape quilt. Everyone's the idiot here. I would find it disconcerting to receive a wedding gift based around being abused or falling on hard times. Isn't that the expectation of your brother? That he'll abuse her or make her destitute? It feels like a really bad omen. That said, many others seem to like the idea, so I suppose it's an individual opinion, like any other gift. This is why I think it's not right to get your nose all out of joint when someone doesn't like the thing you intend to give them without knowing that they want it. A gift is about the recipient, not the giver. I had the same thought. Everyone's saying what an amazing, thoughtful gift it is. I don't think it's amazing or thoughtful to have the assumption that my new husband is going to abuse me. Like, oh, this is so sweet. I'd be so thrilled and touched if my soon-to-be mother-in-law sold a nail file into a quilt in case I needed to saw my way out of handcuffs to escape her abusive son. Jesus, I'd be very put off by that idea, and it would make me question what the heck goes on within this family. My mom and stepdad had to go see my grandparents because of some emergency, so it was just me, 19 female, my twin siblings, pre-tween male and female. I had plans on inviting 2 friends, and my parents said I still could, so they came. One of my friends brought her boyfriend, Mike. I usually don't mind, the more the merrier, but I'm not a fan of him. He's kind of an idiot and blames it on his autism, but I don't know. I'm not really educated on all that. Anyways, my sister was playing in their playroom, but my brother was bored and wanted attention. He's really into having abs and muscles and being strong right now, and he does gymnastics and all that. So he was doing cartwheels and stuff till he got a little dizzy. He sat on my lap and started showing me his arms and asked if his muscles had gotten bigger. He's young, so he still has little arms. But I said, OMG, they're totally getting bigger. Mike randomly interrupted to go, nah, man, you got noodle arms. My brother didn't really catch what he said, so he just brushed him off, but I was upset. So I discreetly told him to stop. But Mike was all like, what? I'm just telling the truth. He has to do much more than that to get some real muscles, noodle arm kid. I reminded him that my brother's young, but he said his age is irrelevant here. My brother then decided to show us another gymnastics move. I think it's a round off, but he did it, and we all clapped for him. Except, of course, Mike. He went, "That was anticlimactic." He continued, "No offense, but this is the most unimpressive kid ever. Get out of here with your skinny butt." I was honestly so angry at this point that I sarcastically said, "I'd like to see your fat butt try to do what he did." He immediately got upset, and his girlfriend gasped, like I said something outrageous. Where was her horror when her boyfriend was insulting my kid brother? But Mike got all up in my face about being a witch before leaving. His girlfriend told me that I went too far, especially since I know he has autism, and that she can't believe I fat-shamed him when he isn't even fat. Besides, he isn't wrong, and your brother's annoying. My other friend that was there told me that she thought he was rude, but I did too much. Am I the idiot? Nope, not the idiot at all. Good on you for defending your brother from that bully. Signed, an autistic person who knows autism is not a free pass to be an idiot without consequences. Also, your friend, who's dating Mike, is not being a good friend to you right now. I'd suggest distancing yourself from her. You deserve better friends. Me too, although I'm high functioning. There are thoughts you think, and then there are things that you say. I can be too direct as well, but I put in effort to not be an idiot and hold my tongue, especially towards children, even though I don't like to be around them. This Mike is weaponizing his autism as a free pass to be an idiot. People like him give us all a bad name. Funny how he's autistic enough to not understand how he's being a bully to a kid, but as soon as you throw it back at him, he's immediately offended and eager to call you a witch. Ha ha ha. This isn't his autism. He's using that as an umbrella to avoid all consequences that would follow from being a total idiot. If any of my friends said anything like that to my brother, I would promptly remove them from the premises and let them know they were never invited near me or my family again. Calling a kid noodle arms isn't honest. It's mean. Most kids have slender limbs. They're literally growing. What kid have you seen that actually has bodybuilder muscles? They can't do that because that would stunt their growth. I genuinely feel torn about this, and I would accept whatever verdict I get. I'm using throwaway and fake names for obvious reasons. I, 35 male, have been best friends with Harry, 35 male, all through my childhood, and got to know his younger sister, Melanie, 33, over the years. We were never close, but always polite and friendly. I'm still very close to Harry's family, so I know his sister Melanie is married to a woman, Anna, 30, and has a son, kindergartner. I recently started working as an RN in the same hospital as Melanie. She was and always has been polite and friendly. Due to us being close, a few coworkers asked me where I knew her from, because apparently she's usually much more formal with people. I explained, and also mentioned that I was even at her wedding, and she was in mine, as in that's how close we are. Then they asked what her husband did for a living, and I said her wife was an interior designer. Melanie later pulled me aside and asked me not to share any details about her at work. I was genuinely surprised because I didn't share anything personal. She explained that as a girly-looking orthopedic surgeon, she's already behind all of the old men she works with by a long shot, and that knowing about her orientation will make her work life only about being teased and joked about by these jerks. I said if she thought this would be a big problem, she should have warned me beforehand, and I would absolutely not have mentioned anything. It's especially weird because she's been married for 10 years and has a kid. She said she expected me to know better after 25 years, but was sadly disappointed. I'm still trying to figure out what I did here. I had no idea. My coworkers are mostly nice people. Most of them are on my side, but some think I shouldn't have talked about Melanie at all. Was I indeed the idiot? You are the idiot. Am I reading this right? You shared her orientation? That's incredibly personal. Most of them are on my side, but some think I shouldn't have talked about Melanie at all. After she's already asked you not to talk about her, you went back to all your colleagues and discussed this conversation with them to get their opinion? Are you still talking about her? Exactly. Further outing her to multiple people after he was directly asked not to, and framing himself as the victim to boot. OP, you outed Melanie to one coworker, and now apparently many, if not all, of your coworkers are gossiping about her lifestyle. You're too old to pretend to be naive about what happens if you out someone. Dude, you messed up, then compounded your mistake by discussing the matter of her orientation behind her back with other people, whose opinions of her being out or not don't matter at all. Just like your opinion of her choice to reveal or not reveal doesn't matter at all. That choice is hers and none of your business. Get a clue, buy a vowel, or perhaps just stop talking. Still, you clearly can't hear yourself, so I suspect you'll keep running your mouth about other people's business. My 25 male brother, let's call him Rick, 38, and sister-in-law told me that my niece, teen, is starting to think about boys. I told them I think it's cool that Emily feels comfortable talking to them about that kind of stuff, when they revealed that she actually does not, but they know because they read her diary. I was a little shocked by this, and I told them that I thought that was really messed up. We got into an argument that ended with Rick ultimately saying it was his kid. While she's under his roof, they reserve the right to know everything that's going on. They also said I was telling them how to parent when I don't have my own kids. While they have a point, in my gut, I think it's wrong to invade someone's privacy to an extent, even if it's your own kid. Emily doesn't know that they read her journal. I know I shouldn't tell her, but I'm looking for a loophole. Am I the idiot if I privately gave her a diary with a lock, or maybe found a sneaky way to tell her to hide her diary? OMG, I assume they also want to know when she had her first time or worse. Be there. Tell her to keep a diary online in a password-protected journal. Locked paper journals are still very easy to break into. Or buy her a lockbox for precious things, such as a diary, more secure than a paper one. Years ago, we gave a locked diary to my stepson, and his mother just broke the lock, and her control issues with him got worse. He ended up moving in with us full time. OP's niece doesn't have that luxury, but you need to tell your niece what's going on. Sigh. Kids like your niece can easily turn into the ones who sneak around, lie, and hide everything they do because their parents don't trust them. My childhood best friend was one of them. He would lie to his folks when the truth would have served him better, just on principle. He moved out on his 18th birthday and never looked back. Maybe his experience colors my answer, but having now seen it from the point of view of a parent too, I think that at some point, and under normal circumstances, you have to let go and trust that you're teaching your kids right. Kids need their privacy, and parents need to give it to them. And I think you're not the idiot if you helped your niece in that direction. That's more than giving her a journal. It lets her know that you have her back, and there's no greater gift. Update. Am I the idiot if I give my niece a private lockable journal, since my brother told me he and sister-in-law read her diary? Hello, everyone. I've read all the responses, and I'm grateful for every suggestion. You all helped me work through what I should do. Some of you won't agree, but I've decided to just go about this the sneaky way. I ordered a lockbox that looks exactly like a book. She has loads of books and trinkets, so it'll be easy to disguise. I'm going to put a new diary and a nice pen inside, along with a note that tells her this box is her secret, and it's for anything she wants to keep private. I truly believe she'll get the hint. I've decided not to tell her outright, but if she asks me why I got her this gift, I'll tell her a story about a friend whose diary was read. I'll give it to her the next time I pick her up from school, so she can just put it in her bag with her other books. This may be overkill, but I've also ordered a book on how to make your own secret code or cipher, and the next time I spend time with her, I'm going to suggest we come up with a code as a fun activity and see if she'll be interested. I plan to approach my brother and sister-in-law and explain to them exactly why I think what they did was wrong, and I may show them this post, as some of you had very good responses that were better than what I could come up with. Cheers. OP, you don't need to make up a story about a friend whose diary was read behind their back. I tried twice in my teens to keep a diary, and one time my mom read it and laughed at what was written. I only found out because my dad told me. He had very strong boundaries when it came to privacy. The other time I tried, my sister found my diary and also laughed at the contents. 40 years later, I'm still angry. I never shared my writing with my family. Mom and sister also laughed at my teenage poetry. Again, even after making full marks in literature at school or winning the creative writing comp 2 years running, diaries are sacred. Tell her now. When I, 32 male, met my girlfriend, 29, 7 years ago, I learned she had custody of her little cousin, Laura, tween, since she was 20 years old. I've always been very accepting of her. She's an incredible little girl, and I love her very much. My girlfriend and I have 2 kids, a female kindergartner and male toddler, and I recently planned a trip to my parents with them to spend some father-kids time, and also for my parents to spend some grandparents/grandchild time. My girlfriend was fine with it until I told her I wasn't taking Laura. She asked why, and I answered that I wanted to spend some time alone with our kids, and my parents were very excited to meet their grandson and thought this was the perfect opportunity. After that, a heated conversation ensued, but my girlfriend eventually dropped it. I told my parents about my plans, and they're not happy with it either, saying that it's unfair to exclude Laura from the trip. But I'm currently struggling to see how it's unfair to want some alone time with my children and for my parents to see their grandchildren. I was hoping I could get some others' perspectives. Am I the idiot? Edit. Laura was a toddler when my girlfriend gained custody of her. My girlfriend said she's not coming either. Laura won't be staying alone. You got the other perspective from your parents. They made it clear Laura should be included. They're not worried about alone time with the grandkids. Why are you? This should be a non-issue if you love Laura the way you claim to. You are the idiot. If you want a future with your girlfriend and the bio kids, you better adjust your thinking regarding your girlfriend's oldest child, because that's what Laura is. Yeah, Laura isn't someone visiting your home for a couple of weeks. She's a child that your girlfriend is parenting. You've been in this child's life for 7 years and don't see an issue with leaving her behind for the visit? You're the problem in this situation, and I wonder how you treat her in your home. My only hope is that if OP goes through with this awful plan, Laura and his girlfriend changes the locks while he's away. OP, you are such an idiot that you've even stunned your own parents with your dietary way of thinking. Kudos to you. Just know this decision will blow up your family. FYI, this includes Laura, in case you forgot. Next time you have such a firm view on biological-only rules, maybe don't date a woman with a child and play a pretend fatherly role to her whole childhood. Laura, your girlfriend, and your biological kids deserve better than you. I, female 33, have been married to my husband, 38, for 2 years. He has a tween son from his former marriage. He's always been on bad terms with his ex. They had a messy divorce and hated each other's guts, and it got worse after his ex got remarried. The current problem started when he found out that his ex-wife planned to go on vacation without their son, my stepson. Why? Because her new husband didn't want him to go. Probably because it's a romantic getaway. My husband pitched a fit and insisted they take my stepson, but she refused. My husband then brought him to stay with us, not his days, but I welcomed him and made sure to keep him entertained and happy. All was good till I found out that my husband had booked tickets for a vacation to the same place his ex and her new husband were going. Same hotel, same everything. He booked the tickets in mine and his son's name only. I was confused. I asked him about it, and he said he did this to spite his ex and show her that he can't exclude his son from vacation and who the better parent is. He told me he's arranged for everything, and all I had to do was take time off of work and take his son and go. I was shocked. I asked if he was serious, and he confirmed it. So I went off on him, saying I can't just take time off work and go with his son to a place I've never been before, so that he could one-up his ex. He ranted about how busy he was. Otherwise, he would have, quote, taken care of this himself, but sent me instead. I yelled saying, I've got a lot on my plate and I work full time and I take care of my cancer-stricken mom. I clean, cook, and take care of my stepson on top of that. He said my boss would understand if I took time off, unlike his, but in response I called him selfish and said no to this arrangement and told him it was final. He flipped his crap on me and told his son that I just said no to a fun vacation for him, funded by his dad. I told him to stop it because I have commitments and won't risk losing my job over an unexpected vacation. And for what? We just got back from one a month ago. He's been ranting about how I'm wasting his time and money by declining to go, and that his son will hate me forever. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're married to a man who hasn't gotten over his wife, ex, and is willing to hurt his son for some toxic payback. This will not end well. Run. Feel terrible for the kid, though. Hopefully his bio mom is a better parent and gets sole custody one day. Yeah, I wonder how the timeline correlates with the ex getting married and OP an idiot getting married. Sounds like if she can do it, so can I, BS. This is the "we moved into the spaghetti factory" volume marinara flag. If he asked her to, it would be pretty bad but not horrid. The fact that he booked it and ordered her to take off work, that's another level. He won't risk upsetting his career, but if she has problems, what does he care? OP's husband's response has to be one of the most stupid and immature reactions I've heard lately. The poor kid, and by default OP, are pawns in this mess. Even if the ex was neglecting the son to go play with her new husband, you don't respond in this manner. Husband needs therapy or to just grow up. Seriously, hun, he's either still in love with his ex and jealous that she's moved on, or he's got some serious power and control issues that you need to be aware of. It doesn't bode well for you if he's acting like this about her. He's trying to use you and his son in his sick game of revenge. It's totally and completely inappropriate and unhealthy. And frankly, he is being emotionally and psychologically abusive to you. Do you see that? There's so much of a bigger issue here. I, 20 female, was recently admitted to a hospital for a night due to a serious but not life-threatening illness. I was completely out of it for several days with horrible pain before my roommate convinced me to get medical help. She took off work to stay with me in the hospital, and I cannot express how much her support has helped me, as my own family lives too far away. Now, I've been dating Sam, 19 male, for about 9 months. He knew I was sick, so I texted him when I first went into the hospital to update him. Since he was working, he didn't read the message until much later. I sent him around 6 texts updating him with what the nurses were saying and including a photo of me getting an IV, giving a thumbs up. It was my first time ever in the hospital, and I just wanted to keep the crappy situation as lighthearted as possible. He responded a few hours later with a thumbs up, and that was all. I asked if everything was all right, and he said, yeah, just you being in the hospital is giving me a lot of anxiety. I'd rather not see you looking like that. I told him that was okay, and didn't message him for the rest of the night, not thinking much of it. The next afternoon, his mom called me, asking if I was okay. She had the impression that I sent him the hospital photo after he told me not to share any information and was disrespecting his request. She reminded me that his grandfather had only died a year earlier, and Sam had to spend a lot of time in and out of the hospital, so the updates made him grieve again. I apologized to her and sent him a text saying that I didn't mean to hurt his feelings. He left me unread. My roommate thinks I didn't do anything wrong, and he's being too sensitive and immature to involve his mom. Personally, I think this is a bit unfair, as he was really close with his grandfather and struggled with anxiety. I feel really guilty, as I know how mental health can be and never want him to suffer. Am I the idiot? Did he tell his mommy on you? He told his mommy on you. Drop him, OP, and find someone who'll be at your side when you're sick, instead of whining to his mommy. Hearing that you are sick enough to be hospitalized is too hard on me. Let me know when everything's perfect again, so I can be back in this relationship. Please leave your boyfriend and his mother. He's more concerned about his feelings than about how you're doing. He didn't even ask you how you were or hope that you felt better. You're in pain in a hospital bed for the first time ever, and you shouldn't be the one worrying about him suffering. Yeah, I have this image of the mom wrapping her precious baby in cotton wool and spending her life making sure nothing ever disturbs him. Shudder. Your roommate is right. You didn't do anything wrong. He's not ready for a relationship. Neither is his mother. Not the idiot, honey. But this is not a relationship with a future. Partners should be able to rely on each other for support. I realize you're still very young. But what if you married this guy, needed surgery, or got pregnant? Is this the person you trust to pick up your meds or help you in the bathroom? Can you imagine him holding your hair for you when you're puking your guts out? Not everyone's looking for Mr. Ever After, of course, and that's fine. But if that's what you want, I would gently suggest it's time to start reviewing your options. I hope you recover quickly and satisfactorily. My niece, my sister's daughter, is getting married this weekend, and her wedding's on Sunday. I'll skip it because it's a destination wedding, not too far away but still from our main city, and it's on a Sunday. On Monday I work as most of us do. My son and his girlfriend will go despite my pleading not to. I told them it's a waste of money, and it's very wrong how my niece has her wedding on a Sunday night, expecting most of us to skip work the following day. My son said he doesn't care, and neither does his girlfriend, and they'll just take the day off. But this doesn't sit right with me. I had RSVP'd no that I won't attend, and I left a note in the email saying how it's very inconvenient that they chose that day, and how I feel they should be more thoughtful of those of us who work the next day and can't attend their destination wedding. Regardless of a destination wedding or not, Sunday weddings are a no-no because people work the next day. They can't stay up late for your wedding and then go to work. My niece called me to say how sorry she is I won't attend and that it's okay she's not offended. I told her that I was actually offended about how she didn't think this through out, about how nobody else scolded her on that choice, and how many people will now miss out on the wedding for a silly choice she made. She said that date is special for her and her fiancé. That's why she chose it. I told her, of course I understood, but she shouldn't just be thinking about her special and unique date, and she should accommodate other people. She defended herself and said she understands that it's difficult for many people to attend, and she doesn't mind. That made my blood boil because that girl obviously didn't care about the comfort and convenience of her guest and only cared about her own special little date. I told her that. She then started cursing me out and told me, "Okay, who are you?" I said I understand why people might not be able to attend, but my fiancé and I wanted that date, so whether or not you can make it is your business. Just RSVP no and shut up, since I don't owe you any justification on why I chose that date. Good thing your judgmental idiot won't come after all. Who knows what else you'd comment on? She hung up on me. I called my sister and told her how her daughter spoke to me, and she said that her daughter was right. My sister said I was wrong. My son also said I crossed the line, and I should indeed stay out and stop being an idiot. Am I? Well, this is an easy one. You are the idiot. People choose wedding dates for many different reasons, including because the date is special, but Sundays are also cheaper. I've heard of weddings on Valentine's Day, Wednesday morning, etc. You don't get a vote if you're not paying for the wedding. You deserved everything she said to you. Big, big, big you are the idiot. Going 3 hours away to a wedding is hardly destination. Her wedding is not about you. It's their day. And you're so inconsiderate that you have the nerve to try to change any part of it. I'm glad you're not going because weddings are happy occasions to be shared with loved ones, and nothing about what I just read was loving. As for your niece, I wish her a long and happy marriage, void of selfish family. I have 2 children, Caleb 29 and Anna 24. They've always been close up until this issue. Anna was bullied in middle school and high school by Violet, 25. We went to the school multiple times and talked to Violet's dad, and to put it bluntly, I could see where she got it from. The bullying affected Anna's self-esteem and social relationships, and during their senior year, Violet slept with Anna's boyfriend, which devastated her. Long story short, Caleb got a very impressive job opportunity he just couldn't turn down, but it meant working for Violet's dad. We all encouraged him to take it, but were blindsided when he later revealed he was dating Violet. They've now been together for 2.5 years, and the wedding is coming up. I'm absolutely not happy about this, and Caleb is aware. Violet has apologized to Anna, and Anna's willing to be civil with her for things like holidays. However, Caleb is very defensive if the bullying's brought up and says Violet experienced a great deal of trauma as a teenager, and we need to be forgiving. Now, the issue at hand is the veil. My grandmother had a vintage designer veil with a unique pattern, and I had previously said Caleb and Anna could use it for their weddings if they wanted to. With no prior discussion, my wife gave it to Violet, who loved it. She's really into vintage fashion and even specifically picked a dress to complement it. Anna recently expressed that it was hurtful to her. She didn't want Violet to have a family heirloom, and it felt too much like erasing history. I immediately understood and told Caleb and Violet that she couldn't wear it. I said when I told Caleb he could use it, I obviously couldn't anticipate the girl he would bring home. Violet gave it back to me, but Caleb blew up and uninvited me from the wedding. Now my wife is angry at Anna and me and says I need to give it back to Violet. She said Caleb has never truly seemed happy before, true, and that if I was a good dad, I would at least like Violet for making him happy. She said I'm coddling Anna, favoring her over Caleb, and she threatened to steal the veil and sneak it to the wedding. Not the idiot. Your wife sounds like not the most pleasant person, sorry. You're not favoring Anna. You're trying to protect her from having to relive her trauma every day. Your son is asking everyone to give Violet a break because she had a traumatic childhood, but he isn't willing to give the same to Anna. She had a traumatic childhood too, because of Violet. As for the veil, it's your family's heirloom to do with as you wish, not your wife's. I hope she reads the responses and sees how utterly childish she is, but I doubt she will change. Hopefully she doesn't further traumatize Anna with her actions. Agree. First, your wife shouldn't be giving away your heirlooms without much of a talk with you, regardless. Second, I understand. Considering your account of events, Anna is hurting a lot. Your wife, however, perhaps should be reminded that she's also Anna's mother at the end of the day. As for Caleb, I wouldn't date my sibling's bully in a million years, not even if they got covered in gold. Violet wasn't just a bully. She had intimacy with Anna's boyfriend. Nobody made her do that. Not her trauma. Nothing made her do that, but her being a bad person. And now your son is dating her? The selfishness there is astounding. Your wife is part of the problem. Anna is more important than Violet. Also, an apology doesn't just fix everything. Bullies have to prove a lot before receiving forgiveness. And honestly, it makes sense why you did what you did. I recently had a baby, and my parents were invited to the hospital to meet her the day of. She was born on my dad's girlfriend, Emma's birthday. He's been with Emma for under a year and is extremely obsessed with her. Like, I would consider it unhealthy. It was Emma's 40th birthday, which I do get is a big deal, but I figured he could spare a couple of hours and just take her to dinner or something. Instead, he told me he wouldn't be able to come to the hospital because he didn't want her to be alone on her birthday. I pointed out that that was a little weird, but he insisted it was her birthday and she should get a whole day of stuff, plus some stuff about she has trauma, so she apparently deserves it more than most people. I was pretty hurt and disappointed, but I held it in at the time. He was the only grandparent who didn't come. My father-in-law and mom were disgusted, but my mother-in-law thought it was sweet what he was doing, so I don't know if I overreacted. My daughter is now 3 months, and it still bothers me, so I decided to tell him. It came up in conversation because it came up how much I don't like Emma for unrelated reasons, but I pointed out that he feeds into her by treating her like a princess. I said he was selfish to put a girlfriend of 10 or 11 months over his daughter and granddaughter. I said it changed how I viewed him, which definitely hurt his feelings. He got defensive and left with an attitude. Not the idiot. Actions have consequences. He felt that his 40-year-old girlfriend's birthday was more important than his daughter and his becoming a grandfather. How could that not have changed the way you view him? He can take his hurt feelings to Emma, who will no doubt ignore them and ask him to rub her feet. Agree. He couldn't spare an hour to come and meet his grandchild, for goodness sake. He could have brought the girlfriend with him if necessary. Unfortunately, your baby and the girlfriend are going to continue to share a birthday, so be prepared for this to be a regular snub while they're together. Everyone's the idiot here. He could have spared a couple of hours to come and meet the baby. Yes, but you, OP, didn't give birth to baby Jesus either. And you just sound jealous because you're not the center of your father's world anymore. This is not a contest between you and your dad's girlfriend. Please stop trying to make it one. It's not about a contest. A family member was brought into the world, and you decided that a 40-year-old woman's birthday was so important that you couldn't spare any time for your granddaughter's literal birthday? Will this happen every year? I'm sorry, but family comes first. Not a girlfriend of not even a year. He could have spared at least 20 minutes to meet her and hold her, but no, he passed on an experience that he will never get back. The first day out of the womb is pretty important. I would not talk to my dad if he didn't come see his grandchild. Seriously? He didn't need to be there the day of. He could visit at any time. You are the idiot, OP, because you're blowing this out of proportion. So he didn't see his grandchild on the actual day she was born. The other 3 grandparents were there. He wasn't doing it to insult you. He wanted to spend the day with his girlfriend on a milestone birthday. So your excuse for your behavior is that you don't feel being in a relationship for nearly a year counts as a serious one. You're wrong. Love is not measured in time. You just don't like her, and you're using the birth of your daughter to score points.